Let's go! Today guys, we're not only talking about Bitcoin on lower time frames, I'm also going to show you this chart which is going to blow your mind. So if you like Bitcoin, if you're holding any Bitcoin at all, you need to stick around during this video. So welcome back everybody. My name is Cristiano, bringing you cryptocurrency videos every day, teaching you how to make money in this market. Let's get right into this chart, and we are going to begin by talking about Bitcoin on lower time frames. And you can see that we have had a small little pump here on the 4-hourly time frame. We went right into my orange box, actually not that deep. So we got into the edge of the orange box here and we did see that rejection. So this is solidifying my belief right now that Bitcoin is looking weak on lower time frames. You can see that we had this high right here, we had this high, this one, and also this one. And we are continuing to make these lower highs. So this is showing weakness in Bitcoin right now on lower time frames. But this is not something we should care too much about because, as you know, my strategy is still the same. Everything in between the red line at $42,000 and the $30,000 is just noise. And we are still waiting for that big move. But if you want to make trades on lower time frames, you can see that, yes, we are definitely trending down. And in fact, us getting into the orange box here and not being able to break it to the upside and not making a higher high, this also means that, yeah, this is showing more and more weakness now on lower time frames. And if I flip on the moving averages, this is something we've been talking about a lot as well. You can see that we are right now struggling with the 100 and the 50 period moving averages on the 4-hourly time frame here. So we are right on the we're right on the edge of this candle right here, right into the purple. This is perhaps I think this is the 100 period moving average on the 4-hourly time frame. And this is what I'm telling you. The Bitcoin price is being pushed down by these moving averages. And the lower we go on the Bitcoin price here, the further down these are going to get as well. And we are about to see that big move eventually when we cannot, do anything else than either break $30,000 or break these moving averages to the upside, which would signal a trend shift. And I still think that the $30,000 level is most likely to have been the bottom, meaning that I think that we are going to break these to the upside eventually, but now is not the time. So we will have to wait a bit longer. Bitcoin is not that strong right now. So we will see about that. But this is something you need to pay attention to. Pay attention to these moving averages. Pay attention to the orange box here. Maybe we are going to make a new try. So maybe we are going to get down to the orange line here at $33,000 before making another try here. We will see, and I will keep you updated. But today I actually want to talk about something else, and this is really interesting. I usually show you the chart of the traditional markets, and I show you the S&P 500, and I've always told you, recently, that we have a deviation right now because I'm expecting Bitcoin to grossly outperform the traditional markets, including the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and every other stock market in the world. So we are right now at an all-time high in the traditional markets on the S&P 500, while Bitcoin is still trending downwards. We already know this, and this is also reinforcing my belief that we are about to see that big move. But I think the better index to watch actually is the Nasdaq, because the S&P 500, the reason why I'm using that is because it's a bit broader. But really, when you think about it, if you look at Nasdaq, they compose of tech stocks, and Bitcoin, more than anything, is a revolutionary tech. So I think that comparing it to the Nasdaq is a little bit better. But you can see it's very similar. We are not at an all-time high, but very close to an all-time high. Now, I want to show you the correlation between Bitcoin and the Nasdaq traditionally. And here you have it. So you have the Nasdaq. This is the purple line right here. You have Bitcoin, which is the orange line. And you can see that they are trending kind of the same, like on a grander scale, they are kind of correlated. And this is also for everyone who have been saying that they are not correlated. I think this shows it pretty clearly, like they are correlated. There's no denying that. So one interesting thing you can watch here is that when you look, and by the way, you might look at this and see like, okay, but they are kind of trending the same. And, at this point, the purple line is actually above the orange line. So why not just buy the Nasdaq? Well, the reason why is because even though this is relative to their own chart, basically. So although they look similar, the amount of gains are not similar. So what I mean by this, if you go back to like the COVID crash here in the Nasdaq, so let me go, this is actually the 4-hourly time frame. So let us do this on the daily time frame. And you could see that they, from this point of the COVID crash, they rose pretty similarly, and actually the Nasdaq is now outperforming Bitcoin. So does this mean that from this point you should have bought Nasdaq? Well, no, because the gains are relative to each other. So if you look at the Nasdaq here from the COVID crash, whoops, it went up by 120% here. So 120% on the Nasdaq. So that's not bad. But if you look at the same time frame on Bitcoin, even with this current crash, you're still up 750%, and on the top you're up 1,600%. So even though the lines look the same, they're following each other, the gains are much bigger on Bitcoin because the lines are relative to its own price action basically. Now, let's not get into those details. I want to show you this. So you can see that we have periods in which Nasdaq is outperforming Bitcoin. So the purple line is outperforming Bitcoin right here. It's going up, like during this whole bear market, Bitcoin is going down, the Nasdaq is slightly going up. Bitcoin rises while the Nasdaq falls right here. So we see a pump in Bitcoin, we see the Nasdaq start to outperform it after that. So you see the Nasdaq start to outperform Bitcoin here. Or outpacing Bitcoin, not outperforming in terms of gains, but relative to each other, relative to itself, I should say, it's outpacing Bitcoin. We start to see the Nasdaq go down here, while Bitcoin has a huge pump. The Bitcoin price falls during this vicinity, and the Nasdaq goes sideways after that, where Bitcoin pumps. So can this tell us anything? Well, it can tell us that, yes, sure, you have periods when Bitcoin outperforms Nasdaq. You have periods where Nasdaq outperforms Bitcoin. But all in all, Bitcoin outperforms the Nasdaq. And in terms of gains, like I already showed you, there's no, question about that. But then you can see this, Bitcoin falls right here while the Nasdaq rises, and then they kind of rise together until the COVID crash where both go down kind of similarly. And then you have the Nasdaq outperforming Bitcoin while Bitcoin goes sideways for a bit here. You see that pump in Bitcoin. You see the Nasdaq start to outperform again while Bitcoin goes sideways. And then you have another huge pump, of course, the 2021 and 2020 bull market where both of them rise, but Bitcoin heavily outperforms the Nasdaq. But here's the thing, if you look at where we are right now, Bitcoin rose right here in May of 2020. That was the last kind of like big rise in Bitcoin. Since then, we've been going down and the Nasdaq has been going up. But if this can tell us anything, that is a good sign that we are about to see a big explosion in Bitcoin and that we are going to see Bitcoin grossly outperform Bitcoin during the next couple of months. So this is what this chart is telling us. I think that is also going to be the case. As I said, during the latter parts of this summer, I think that Bitcoin is going to start to pick up pace. But until then, we can watch the price action on lower time frames here. But yeah, that's very cool to see that you have this correlation black on white here, that we might see a big move in Bitcoin, so be prepared for that. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this content so far, then make sure to subscribe and activate the bell. That would be appreciated. Also, if you put a like on this video. So Capital International, I just want to wrap up this video with this piece of news. So Capital International purchased 600 million in Microstrategy stock. Now we know that Microstrategy is basically like an ETF for Bitcoin. You can get exposure to Bitcoin by buying the Microstrategy stock because they have been just... It seems like Michael Saylor, the CEO of Microstrategy's only goal is to make Microstrategy just a proxy for Bitcoin. But so they put in $600 million in Microstrategy, which means that they are going to get exposure to Bitcoin. So that's pretty cool. And I think that you're going to start to see more of this happening as, these institutions and these publicly traded companies, they will not want to hold Bitcoin for regulatory reasons themselves, but what they can do is they can buy MicroStrategy and still get that same exposure. So that's cool. And MicroStrategy, by the way, they could hold more than 4 billion in Bitcoin after their latest private offering. So they continue to buy more and more Bitcoin. And is this a danger? Is it a danger that one entity controls this much Bitcoin? Well, stop selling into every support. Stop selling your Bitcoin to these whales and these institutions, and we will not have that problem. Bitcoin is something that should never be sold. Bitcoin is something you should be holding until, you know, at least several $1 million. That's just my own opinion. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I will see you in the next one.